Hey folks, Chitfadans here, and moving forward with our series of tweaks and mods for the Kowa B&H. This week's video is a tweak presented by James Price, who's a frequent collaborator by now, and he presented this at USSR a while ago. You might have noticed in many of my shots with the Kowa B&H some veiling glare. That is, this white halo or inverse vignetting. It's particularly noticeable on wider lenses. That is caused by strong light sources hitting the front optics. If you're not too fond of that aspect of the lens, there's an easy way of modding it. The edge of the front element is exposed on the Kowa B&H, which is both good and bad. Bad because it creates the veiling glare, and good because it gives us the opportunity of fixing it ourselves without disassembling. You can be fancy and get acrylic paint with a fine brush to paint over the rough edge. Its rough aspect is great for absorbing the ink, but as I want to be cheap, I'm just gonna grab my trusty Sharpie and paint carefully around the edge. It's easy to see what the edge is, as it is rough. If you have any track accidents during the paint process, just use a Q-tip with a tiny little bit of lighter fluid to wipe the paint off the front glass. Here's a little bit of before and after comparisons. For me, that's a lot of improvement, as I find veiling glare one of the most negative types of flare, as it's too much like an inverse vignetting on a majorly dark frame. Here are a few more comparisons, these ones done by James Price, and he states that this modification can also be applied to any similar lens that has an exposed front edge of its optic, creating a strong veiling glare. Often the veiling glare is part of the joy of anamorphic, but sometimes it can be a little too much, so this technique is good to try a little bit at first. By applying a thin layer of diluted paint first, that way the veiling glare can be deadened rather than completely removed. Cheap, simple, and effective. Just the way we like it. What's your opinion on the Kowa's veiling glare? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Are you gonna do the mod yourself? If you want to continue improving your Kowa B&H or learning more about anamorphics in general, just go ahead and subscribe, and then you can catch up on all the stuff you missed so far on the blog with tons of articles, reviews, and tutorials. Last week we had the review of the Kowa B&H versus the Scope 2, so you might want to watch that too. And I'm Chitfadans, and I'm out.